parent called me and the child had misplaced their password. So I just called the technology area of Rio Regional, and they gave me information. They said, please have them contact. And there's specific questions they'll ask the parent, and that's the way they'll get a response. If you answer what they want, then they will respond to that and resolve whatever problem there is.
It was interesting. Most of these communications went out, as I said, through the principal's welcome letter. And of course, our IT department was flooded with parent requests looking for their username and password that they had lost. So Mr. Marquise, who was terrific in our IT department, was working countless hours to respond to all of those emails to assist the parents. We were actually considering, once we kind of get through this transitionary period and get all the parents lined up with their username and password, we may have to consider a small fee, because each year we can't open up school year with hundreds of parents that lost their username and ID. But for this transitionary period, as parents get themselves acquainted, I was actually very happy to see that our IT department was flooded with requests, because it really shows myself and our team here that parents want that communication. They want to be ready for the opening of school and to track their child's progress through the year. So it's going to take us a little time to get everybody with their username and password, but we will get to you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, I'll turn it back over to you, ma'am.
It's time for board reports. Do we have any reports from board members?
We had a meeting of the newly constituted Finance Committee on August 16th. The committee is made up of administration, members of the board, and parents, stakeholders who have volunteered, which really gives us an opportunity to kind of tag on to some expertise out there. It was a good meeting. We talked about what the mission of the organization was going to be, the committee was going to be, and we are an advisory group advising administration on fiscal prudence and operation, and no more, no less, and also advising the board within the auspices of their oversight of financial issues. So we will hopefully be collecting a lot of good information from outside the box in advising in the year 2010-2011. We discussed a few ongoing issues. Obviously, one of the reasons why the place is full tonight. What the budget's going to look like and how difficult a year it's going to be, and what are some of the things we need to identify and be ready for going forward. We talked about the 2010-2011 transportation plan, which I would think is another opportunity for communication, probably tonight and going forward. We talked about the October audit, which is an ongoing audit every year, something that the board and the new people of the Finance Committee needed to be aware of. We talked about student insurance and some opportunities in that area. We're creating a calendar. We'll be meeting at least monthly, if not more than that, twice a month, from now until June. And we will be communicating at each board meeting as we have information for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So also, after conferring with Dr. Kegler tonight, as soon as she gives us the green light, our policy committee meeting will be held sometime in September. So those people in the committee, I'll be reaching out to you. We'll be sitting down discussing policy in a right order that Dr. Kegler will give us, and we'll begin to revise our policies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else? All right. It's time for the public participation portion of our meeting. Yes.
If I could just, before the comments on the agenda, if I could just make some clarifications. Absolutely. We do have the revised language here. Resolved that the Freehold Regional High School District Board of Education authorize the administration to implement a parent-funded pay-to-participate program for winter track for the 2010-2011 school year at a cost per student not to exceed $200 subject to waivers using the same standards as for free and reduced lunch, all subject to attorney review. So that's an additional resolution that you don't have on your agendas. Also, if I may, on the addendum, the yellow copy, under the H3 section, which is the second page of your handout, we could just remove the very last motion there under the caption rescind. I believe that's correct. Right, okay.
So we will not be rescinding.
Correct. Correct. We're just removing that altogether.
Can we call the resolution on the pay-to-play I-8, just to keep it?
Okay, that's fine. And if I can, just also ask for clarification and information from council on an item on the H2. That's okay.
Yes, by all means.
Mr. Elston?
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. Included in H2, and I'm quite certain this is what Mr. Boyce is referring to, included in H2 are items regarding the two permanent assistant superintendents. And since there may be some confusion about these items, I want to explain what is a bit of a peculiarity in the law as it applies here. Both of these individuals are tenured in their position as assistant superintendent. That would be Mr. Boyce and Mrs. Evangelista. So in that sense, as with every other tenured employee, their employment in the district is continuous, and they are not really subject to annual reappointment. What they are subject to is the annual setting of a salary. Now, as I think the board knows and many members of the public know from other contexts and other experiences, before a tenured employee may be removed from his or her position, it would be necessary to go through the entire tenure dismissal process, the bringing of charges, the conduct of hearings, a decision of the Commissioner of Education with subsequent appeals. The fact of the matter is that it is also not permitted under the tenure laws to reduce the compensation of any tenured staff member, including the assistant superintendents, although this again would be true of any tenured staff member. In this particular year and in these particular cases, no salary increases are being proposed for either Mr. Boyce or Mrs. Evangelista because of the freeze that exists with respect to salaries. So while the board would have discretion not to grant an increase had one been proposed, the board, again, other than going through the tenure process, has no discretion to lower anyone's compensation. So in a sense, regardless of the board's actions, unless the board were to bring tenure charges or eliminate the position of assistant superintendent, which would have its own set of consequences because of the way the bumping rights apply, the board really any board member is free to express his or her point of view by means of vote, yes or no, on these resolutions, but the actual consequence at the end of the day is that these are two tenured individuals who will remain employed and whose salaries may not be